Right, so right, yeah, so God, it's hot in this place, I tell you. But I've got a really faded shirt. I don't want that on the camera. Not compared to your nice black.
This is a new fresh one this morning as well.
Yeah, so right, so yeah, what are we doing? We're gonna put a briefing on pedestrian crossings.
Yeah.
So if we set the scene, because this is going to be the long edition briefing, because I know we talk about when we do briefings, you know, don't really want to be more than 10 minutes today, because you know people's going to get a bit bored. But it's to get the content in 10 minutes quite difficult. Well, I'll try. I'm going to keep it as short as I can. So let's say set the scene for this pupil that you've got your theory tests coming up.
Yeah.
And you've struggled. You're struggling with the different types of pedestrian crossing, and it's all a bit of a muddle.
Yeah.
And you just want someone just to just do a little bit, almost like a classroom session before the lesson. Yeah. So we're just going to do a little brief explanation on the different types, the rules, etc. And then we'll go out and have a practice.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's it. So would you do this on a part 3? No, not this briefing. You'd say I'd already briefed them if you were going to go and do because it's a practical driving lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Part 3.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
And if I was going to choose pedestrian crossings or driving in the city or something like that as part of the theme of my lesson, I would. She looked tired, didn't she?
She did, that's what I was thinking.
She did look tired. Bell yawn. And yeah, so I'd brief them before. I'd say, right, you know, do a Mr. Examiner, you know, we're going to go do city driving, pedestrian crossing going to be part of that. I've already done the briefing.
Right.
So you could then just get in the car and do a little recap. And can you remember what types there are? Oh yeah. Do you know the rules? Yeah. Do you know what the flashing amber light means? Yeah. Great. You know what the zigzags? Yeah. Great. Let's go.
Right.
Then you could do a nice 3-4 minute briefing. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you just got to play the role. You don't know. You are struggling, so I'm going to have to explain things to you.
Yeah.
Because you've asked me to do this because you know you've thought it's a thing that's going to come up with your pupils.
Yeah,
soon.
that's right. Yeah.
And I just remember when I did my training when it was LPST tests. Because this was a subject, pedestrian crossings and the use of signals they used to put in, and I just remember that was the hardest briefing to try and get it all in. I struggled, but it was one that I practiced, and so yeah, so I'll go through it and see what you think. I'll keep it as short as possible.
Okay.
He says, but yeah, so you just got to you can say I don't know. No one's judging you like as an instructor that you don't know what a toucan crossing is.
Right.
don't worry about getting things.
Yeah.
Just play that typical pupil that, you know, if you were to do your theory test tomorrow and any questions on pedestrian crossings, you're probably going to get them wrong because you've asked for help. So I'm going to give you the help.
Okay.
But you will know some. You've been a pedestrian, haven't you? You've walked to school. You've used them as a pedestrian.
Yeah.
But if you think of let's take an example with zebra crossing. Yeah, as a pedestrian, you've waited there. One car stops, the other car goes through, and you think, well, what is the rule? Like, are you supposed to stop? Because some do, some don't. I don't really get it, really.
Yeah.
So, you know, based on and like maybe what your parents do at pedestrian crossings, like maybe they go through. You think, oh, I thought you're supposed to stop there, or so you're not really sure what the actual highway code would say about it. So, so that's fair enough, isn't it? You think, well, do you know what? Can you just give me the correct version, so I can go past the theory test and know what to do when we drive in the city later. Yeah. And I'll be helping you with that.
Okay.
So that's the scene. So yeah, so we're going to roll. So let's just do it. So okay, Dan. So I remember last week you were asking me, did you like a bit of help on pedestrian crossings?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
And yeah, so we'll do that. Before we get going today, I'll give you a little explanation on the different types of crossings, the rules concerning crossings, and then we'll deal with how we're going to deal with them when we're driving, and so later on, after I give you a little explanation, we'll go for a drive in the city and I've planned a route today where there'll be lots of different types of pedestrian crossings, so you'll see them all and get practice doing them, and I reckon by the end of the day you'll be a whiz kid at pedestrian crossings, knowing what to do.
Sounds good.
So we'll have a little chat first. You'll probably know a lot of the stuff that I'm going to go through because you've been a pedestrian.
Okay, yeah.
You've been a passenger in a car with mum and dad, so you've seen some things that might not have all been right, by the way, but we'll go through. so yeah, we'll just help demystify that whole subject so that you can, because you've got your test next week, I think.
Yeah,
you said, didn't you?
yeah,
So yeah, that'll help, and so I better find the page. So God, I should have done this first. Where are they? Pedestrian crossings. There you go. Look, done.
Straight on it.
So anyway, so I've got some visual aids here that we'll be going through, but actually I'll cover it up because you'll see some others. If I were to say to you, what types of pedestrian crossing are there? What types do you know of?
Well, there's a zebra crossing.
Yeah.
So that's painted on the road, isn't it? 'Cause it looks like a zebra.
Yeah, and what does that look like? What's that painted like on the road?
It's black and white.
That's it, yeah, like a zebra. Yeah, good. So you know about the zebra crossing.
Yeah.
What other? Do you know of any other types?
Well, there's ones with traffic lights on.
That's it. There is. Do you know what that's called?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Have you heard of the Pelican crossing? Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a zebra and a pelican, and there's some other types as well, like a toucan. Have you come across that?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I remember when I became a driving instructor, I come across that and thought, toucan? I thought that's a new one, because when I learned to drive that didn't exist. So there are some new ones that have come on board.
Right.
So we'll go through all those and just make sure you know what's what. So let's start with the one that you sort of recognise and know, zebra crossing.
Yeah.
So let's sort of start with that, because they're all very similar. So if we get one and just know what the rules are and how it works and what we're going to do, then we can build on that. So yeah, zebra crossing. So as you've already identified, it's black and white stripy, and you've got your amber flashing beacons. Do you know what they're called?
Oh, I don't know.
Actually called Belisha beacons, just after the guy that sort of invented the zebra crossing back in the 30s.
Okay.
I think he was a politician, prime minister or something like that.
Right.
I should know that, but anyway, yeah. So he was a politician, and but you won't be tested on Belisha, to know that. That's just an interesting fact if you are interested. Belisha beacons. So so they're the flashing amber lights.
So they're just warning you. They're telling you that's the zebra crossing's there. Is it? That's
well, yeah, basically. Yeah. So if we're driving towards a zebra crossing, we're going to use our system that we've used, our hazard system that we use for junctions. So what is that system? What have we been using for your roundabouts and your junctions? And
our MS-PSL.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we just adapt that system.
Okay. Yeah.
So as we're driving along, we're looking well up the road.
Yeah.
Eyes on full beam, and we're looking out for these different pedestrian crossings because they're hazards, aren't they?
Yeah.
We might need to change what we do. We might need to stop potentially. So the earlier we see it, the earlier we can plan for it. So as soon as you see it, what's the first thing in the system that you're going to do?
Well, we'll check our mirrors. So.
That's it. And why are you checking your mirrors?
To see what's going on behind. See if it's safe.
That's it, because there is a potential that you might be slowing down,
or
then even stopping, mightn't you? So good. So as soon as we see it, we'll check the mirrors. So we've got the M. In regards to signal, obviously we're not going to indicate, but we might be showing our brake lights, and it might be an element of signalling on approach to them. So I just lost my thread. I'm going down this path, and I'm thinking I want to get out of it. Can we just go back? I'm going to cut that bit out. So I'm like, I don't want to go into the system yet. I just want to go into the different types.
Right.
And I'm like, do you know what? I just wish I never took this path. I'm thinking, oh shit, I'll do that later. So so I can stitch this together.
Blend this in nicely.
So I've got to blend it in. So we're just like, what happened? So so different type. We've got our different types of crossings. So we've got a zebra crossing, and we can recognise those. So let's just ask you a few questions about some of the road markings and things.
Okay.
So on approach to a zebra crossing or any pedestrian crossing, you're going to get these zigzag lines. Do you know what they mean?
Are they like no stopping?
That's it. Well, you can stop, because if you had to stop for a pedestrian, you're allowed to stop there, but you couldn't park or wait there.
So they're not the same as what's outside of school then, are they?
Yeah, the same principle. So you get those yellow zigzag lines, keep clear lines.
Yeah.
So you couldn't stop here to drop someone off or nip in the shops.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a keep clear. And why do you think they want to keep the pedestrian crossing clear?
Well, if something was parked too close, I guess it'd be difficult to see, wouldn't it? So.
That's it, yeah. Like, do you remember when you were a kid, when they teach you to cross the road, they say don't cross the road in between parked cars, don't they?
Yeah.
So they're keeping it nice and clear so pedestrians can see and be seen.
Okay.
So we don't want to park there and nip in and get a lorry ticket. Bad idea. But you see people do it, and it's an offence. If you get caught there doing that, so you'll get 3 points endorsement on your licence and a fine.
All right.
So yeah. So yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. There's another rule with regards to zigzags. There's something else that you can't do. Do you know what that might be?
Oh, I don't know.
No overtaking.
Oh, okay.
So no overtaking a lead motor vehicle. So there are exceptions. So you could overtake a push bike, for example, if it's safe to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no overtaking, no stopping in that zone. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Or parking. Okay, so if we look at the next line, we've got a broken dotted line here. So what do broken lines mean?
Give way.
Give way. So if we drove up to this pedestrian crossing, this zebra crossing, and there was a pedestrian waiting there, he would have priority.
Because we've got give way, so he must have.
That's it. Yeah, so the pedestrian it is a pedestrian crossing after all, so it's kind of clues in the name, isn't it? So the pedestrians would have priority. So let's say we've driven along here, we've seen the pedestrian, and we've come to a stop behind the give way line.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, pedestrian crosses the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at what point can you continue through? If the pedestrian's walking across the road, when they get to the other, like in front of your car and they've passed the front of your car, could you then go through? Because you might have seen some people do that, or should you wait till they get to the footpath, do you think?
Well, if they clear the car, I think just continue. That's what Mum does. She's just like, come on, hurry up, you know. As soon as they're clear.
Yeah, so you've seen that, and you've probably been a pedestrian where you're still walking on it and the car just goes through.
Yeah, yeah.
You shouldn't do that.
Oh.
That's a must not do that, in fact. So if what the highway code says is you must wait for pedestrians on the crossing. So if they've got even just 1 foot on that crossing, you wait for them. Okay, so you have to wait till they get all the way to the other side until both feet are on the footpath.
Oh.
And then you can go.
So literally until the crossing's clear, so you've got to wait the whole time.
You've got to wait. And there is an exception to that, though. If there's a little island in the middle. So if they put a pedestrian refuge in the middle, then it becomes 2 separate crossings. So then you could wait for them to get halfway, and then you'd be able to recognise them because there'd be a third Belisha beacon. There'd be one in the middle as well.
Right. Okay.
So you'd get a light there with a give way line. So that's one crossing, then the other crossings on the other side. So we see some of those today because they tend to put them in busier areas where there's lots of pedestrians always crossing. Because otherwise cars would find it very difficult to get going. So so they've just split the road in 2, so you get you can get going. But without that, then it's 1 crossing.
Okay.
And you must that's the law. You must wait for them to get to the other side. All right. So that could come up as a question in your theory. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so so you know about priority, and you've dealt with that. You know about the road markings and the zigzags, and now just on approach. So as you see a crossing, we're going to use our system that we use. What's our hazard system?
So our MS PSL system.
That's it. So we're going to use elements of that. So as we drive along, we've got your eyes on full beams, and you want to see, as soon as you see the crossing, it's a potential hazard. What would you do? What's the first thing you do?
Check my mirrors.
That's it. Check your mirrors. And why are you doing that?
To see what's going on behind.
That's it. Because there's a potential that we might be slowing or stopping right there. So we want to know what's going on behind. So yeah, so we want to get out those mirrors, and as we approach, we want to be scanning left and right for any pedestrians approaching or getting near to that crossing to anticipate where we're going to stop or not. Okay, so you'll be checking your mirrors and scanning. With your feet, you're going to be lifting off the gas. We don't want to be speeding up towards pedestrian crossings. We're not going to try and beat a pedestrian and race them to the crossing.
Right.
We're not going to do that, so we'll ease off.
Okay.
Don't necessarily need to touch the brakes. So if we see a pedestrian, we will, to warn people behind that we might be stopping.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good. Once we have stopped, something I forgot to mention earlier, would you wave someone across? Little old lady, would you like to say, go on, you can cross, or would you do that? Or
Well, if she was waiting to cross?
Yeah. Can you beckon people across, pedestrians to cross the road?
Well, I think if the little old lady was there, I'd like to let her across. So.
Yeah, don't.
Oh.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, because if you think, let's say you're being nice and you beckon the little old lady to cross the road.
Yeah.
Well, can you control the cars coming the other way, whether they're going to do the same?
No.
No. So you could put her into danger, couldn't you?
Okay.
Or imagine little kids beckoning across and there's a motorbike overtaking, which they shouldn't do. So that's why it's not overtaking, but they do.
Yeah.
So you just want to let the pedestrian make their own mind up.
Okay.
And then if you are waiting there, we'll do the normal procedure. We'll put your handbrake on.
Yeah.
Let them cross. And when it's safe, we'll move off. So think about how you move off normally. Where would you normally look before you get going again?
Well, all round, so from the left and round and all right.
Be aware of what's happening in your blind spots, because as a pedestrian, I dare say that you've crossed the road diagonally. Sometimes you might, like, let's say there's a car there, you might come in there and think, I'll just get across that road while the cars are stopped, and just sort of try and beat the crossing. So you could get pedestrians coming in your blind spot trying to cross.
Okay.
So in the city, they'll put, some of the crossings have got barriers, hard barriers, down to stop people doing that.
Right.
So yeah, but we still want to be aware of what's happening around, because pedestrians, especially in the city, they just appear from anywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, where are they? So go have a good old look round and do that.
Okay.
Cool. So that's zebra crossing. I'm going to move on to the other types of crossing, the one with the traffic lights, so the controlled crossing.
Okay.
So controlled because it's got a set of traffic lights that control it. Zebra crossings are classed as uncontrolled.
Okay.
Because even though there's lights there, the pedestrian doesn't control it. There's no little button for you to press as a pedestrian to control it.
Right, okay.
So these are uncontrolled.
Yeah.
So let's go over to our controlled crossings, which are like I say, these ones with the traffic lights. So we mentioned the Pelican crossing earlier. Okay, so it's going to essentially look the same, apart from it's got a set of traffic lights, and instead of a giveaway line, a stop line. Okay. And no stripes on the road.
Yeah.
Still got the zigzags on approach, so that's cool. All good. So and we're going to approach it in exactly the same way. So mirrors, scan.
Yeah.
And we're going to start to anticipate. And we're going to anticipate what's going to happen. How smooth is that? That
was really good.
So you got your Pelican. Road marking's the same, apart from got a stop line.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we're approaching it, if there are pedestrians near it, how can we anticipate if they've pressed that button? How would you know that? How could you? If you ever have a think about that? If you're a pedestrian, what does it look like when you press the button? What happens on the control switch?
Well, when you press it, the light comes on, doesn't it? It lights like wait or something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're different ones. So some say wait, some have a little red LED lights on it.
Oh, right.
And something illuminates on the box, doesn't it? To tell you that you triggered it. So we could, if we're clever, we could scan onto the boxes to see if someone's pressed it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what you were like as a kid. I know I was guilty of this. Have you ever pressed the button and walked on?
Oh, I keep pressing it.
There you go. So kids still do that. So we might have a green traffic light thinking, oh, that's not going to change, but someone's pressed it and walked off or already crossed and they've gone.
Okay.
So if we can see these lights on the boxes illuminated, we can think, do you know what, this has been triggered, mirrors, like we could be stopping.
So we're sort of ahead of what's going on almost. sort of ahead of the traffic lights.
Yeah, we're just going to be extra smart and just looking at the boxes to see if they've been triggered by the pedestrians,
Right,
even though they're not there, because they might have disappeared. They might have
Yeah.
walked off. Yeah. So it'll be a normal set of traffic lights. So just go through the sequence of traffic lights. When you come up to a set of traffic lights, let's go from green. So if they were going to change, what's the sequence?
So green, they'd go to amber, and then red.
That's it. So you get green goes off, then you get an amber.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Solid amber, don't
Yeah.
you? Then
And
red.
Yeah.
So that's that. So let's say we've waited there. Pedestrians cross.
Yeah.
And now the lights are going to change back.
Okay.
This light sequence is now different on a Pelican crossing. So you've got your red, and then that red goes off.
Yeah.
Then you get a flashing amber, just a flashing amber on its own.
Right.
Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, I've seen that driving around. Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what that means? That flashing amber light means?
No. Get ready.
Can means
Go.
the same as the old Belisha beacon.
Okay.
Give way to people on the crossing.
Okay.
So if you're waiting there and the red goes off, you've got the flashing amber, and someone's still on the crossing, we must wait
Right. Okay.
until they get to the other side. Yeah?
Okay.
If, however, no one is on the crossing and you get the flashing amber, so the pedestrians are waiting on the footpath and the flashing amber comes on, then you can continue. You can go through on a flashing amber.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the big difference. So with the Pelican crossing, unlike normal sets of traffic lights, you get a flashing amber light sequence, which kind of means it's like a zebra crossing at that point.
Yeah.
So you'd give way to people
So
on the
you've got to
crossing.
let the crossing clear.
That's it. So you've got a little old man walking there,
Yeah.
you let him get to the other side
across
before you
the-
go
yeah.
through. Even if it goes back to green, you still let him get off that crossing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's the flashing amber light sequence, and that comes on the Pelican crossing.
Okay.
Alright?
Mhm.
So good. So now we've got these other types of crossing. We've got a toucan. Actually, I'll write them down because they make it more visual. Because I know you're a visual learner, aren't you? So we've got,
Yeah.
so we've got Pelican. And now the next one, let's talk about a Puffin. And if we look at how these spelled, to help you sort of revise this and remember it, if you look at the word Pelican, pedestrian, PE, pedestrian,
Right.
LE, light,
Yeah.
controlled crossing.
Oh, I see.
So-
Yeah.
PE, pedestrian, LI, light,
Yeah.
C, controlled. Pedestrian, light, controlled crossing.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Now we get to the Puffin, which will look very similar. Just like that, set of traffic lights. Now this is a pedestrian, user-friendly, intelligent crossing.
Right. Okay.
So these are what we would call smart crossings. Like you've got your smartphones.
Yeah.
So the Puffin crossing, if that little old man is crossing that road, and he's taking twice as long as everyone else to cross, there's a sensor looking down into the crossing that knows he's still there. So there's
Okay.
no flashing amber light sequence, it just holds red
Right.
until he's crossed, until he's safely out of the way, and then it'll go through a normal traffic light sequence.
Okay.
So you'll get the red and amber together,
Yeah.
like get ready, and then green to go. And it will only do that when the crossing's clear.
Oh, right. Okay.
So if people are crossing really quickly, you'll be back on green sooner. If people are taking more time to cross, it'll hold you there longer. So it
Okay.
tries to keep traffic moving quicker,
Yeah.
if it can.
Okay.
So they're smart.
Yeah.
So they've just got a bit of technology, a little box on the top that kind of just scans down into the crossing.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're the smart ones, pedestrian, user-friendly, intelligent crossings. Puffin.
Pedestrian, user-friendly,
Yeah.
intelligent. Okay.
Then we've got another one called a toucan.
There's a lot of crossings.
Can you notice that these names, where would these are all, you'd see all of these in the zoo, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Why do they do that?
I don't know.
Oh, right.
I think they must have just maybe one day had a meeting up the pub and just watched come up with these names? So there's definitely a theme on like tropical birds, isn't there?
Yeah.
So now the toucan, this one has a cycle path on it as well.
Right.
So a cyclist can cross cycle
Okay.
path. And an easy way to remember that is spelt toucan like the bird in the zoo, but if you think of it as two can cross. Two can cross. Pedestrians and cyclists can cross.
Does that mean they could ride across the crossing? Can they? Yeah.
And there'd typically be a cycle path coming up to it as well.
Yeah.
On there. So sometimes there's shared crossings where the people and the cyclists go on the same bit, or sometimes there's a distinct separate bit for the cyclist to go.
Yeah.
We'll see one of those today. We'll see one of each. We'll see one with a distinct separate crossing and one where they share it together. And the way we can tell if that's a toucan, you know, when you, as a pedestrian, you press a little button, you'll get a little green or a red man, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, on these, you'll get a little green and a red man and a little cyclist picture
Right.
as well. Then you know that's a shared crossing with cyclists.
Are
Toucan.
the toucan ones, are they just like smart then? Are they just got sensors?
These are smart ones.
Or can you? So you don't get a toucan with like a flashing amber?
No.
Then? No.
So that is just reserved for the Pelican. That's like an old school crossing. That's quite old fashioned now.
Yeah.
Hasn't got the technology on it. So that flashing amber just indiscriminately goes on for a certain amount of seconds.
Right.
Regardless of whether people have finished
on
crossing or still on it. It just will go through a phase.
Yeah.
Whereas the smart ones, no. They've just got that little infrared sensor that it can think, oh yeah, that little old man still on the crossing, I'll just hold it on red for a bit.
Right, okay, yeah.
So that's just different types of crossing. Now there is just one more, an equestrian crossing. So who do you think might be crossing on that one?
Well, that's the equestrians, horses, isn't it? So
That's it, yeah.
it's horses.
That's it, yeah. Sometimes called Pegasus. So like the mythical beast, half man, half horse, Pegasus.
I was trying to think of another bird.
so that's your different types of crossings.
Okay,
so they're the controlled ones. We've got other ones where the school crossings, where you got the old lollipop.
the lollipop man or lady, yeah.
So and we won't see any of those today because it's half term, but we'll have to have a lesson where we have a look at those.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, we're going to get going now, and well, have you got any questions about any of this so far before we do that?
No, sir.
So we've dealt with the different types. We've dealt with the road markings. You know what the zigzag lines mean.
Yeah.
You know what the rules are with regards to crossings.
Yeah.
Now there is more to this. Sometimes you get staggered crossings and things, but we'll get out and have a look at those, and I'll point those out and explain the rules and anything different as we see it.
Okay.
So we can get going.
Yeah.
So that would be my brief, and we'd go do it now. So because I haven't covered staggered or anything. So then we'd go and do lots, and I'd show you, because we got good examples of these in Norwich, and Fakenham's good for pedestrian crossings, isn't it? Where you would be going. So we just want lots of them, and we really want to go into the city, because then we'll get to wait for people. And
So it's just sort of making a route where you're sort of looping around all different crossings, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at them,
So you want some with islands, you want some with not, you want some
yeah.
toucan crossings. So by the end of it, the pupil's going to be like, oh yeah, no, I get this.
Yeah.
And we just keep reinforcing the rules as we come up to them. So like, if we had to stop at one, we'd say, right, so let's put the handbrake on. Before you move off, where you're going to look, you're not going to wave this little old man across. We'll bring it all to life. So so hopefully that with a stationary car, where I'm writing things, showing you things, that just gives you a chance to soak in the information.
Yeah.
And more likely to go and pass your theory test.
Yeah.
So that's what I would just do if someone asked. I mean, you could do a lot of that on the move with them, showing them things. Like you could, without doing a long briefing, you could just get to the pedestrian crossing and say, look, so we're on radio, handbrake on. So we've got the red light, and now look, see that amber flashing light. So let's say it's a Pelican.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? And they're like, not sure. Well, it means if no one's on the crossing, so say them people are waiting, that means we can go through. So you'd come and check round and we can go through now, and you'd get them going through, and they'd be like, oh, I thought you had to wait for green. So flat flashing amber light, that's a Pelican cross. So you could do it on the move, but if they, are they going to take it all in the city if they've got a lot to take in? So it'd be an idea just to give them a little briefing, get that knowledge in, and then go practice it. So it separates the theory side to the practice side, and breaks it down from.
And like anything, so you can get Q&A in there as well, can't you?
That's it. So then we'd go do it.
Yeah.
So we could go find some crossings, and I could talk you through as if you were my pupil and doing the whole pedestrian crossing talk through, if you want. Do a few of them, and then we're because I know you said you wanted to look at crossroads later as well.
Yeah, traffic lights.
So we could do that. So did you want to do a little practice on pedestrian crossings?
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's one. We'll just do one for the sake of the video. Then you can sort of see what I'd be saying if I had a pupil that needed a bit of a talk through on pedestrian crossings. So then let's go and do that.
Yeah.
So because we won't have to go very far. That's why I moved to this location. Do it.
Yeah.
So you be the pupil, enroll, and we're gonna drive towards the city for the first time.
For the very first time.
Yeah, and you're good with your junctions, and you've done junctions, roundabouts. You've driven in this area before, and there are a few pedestrian crossings around here.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna head into the city.
Yeah.
Probably we won't for the purposes of this video, but. Just because we're just going to do a couple, but that's what we'd be doing on the lesson. We'd be getting into that city, where there's lots, or the town, or wherever you live, where there's lots of people and pedestrian crossings. And also the scope of this. I'll be enrolled. So this is what I'd be saying to my pupil, because I need to do my risk thing now, don't I?
Yeah.
Right. So we're enrolled then. Okay. So we've had the briefing. It's good. We're now going to head off and go and look at some pedestrian crossings. Because it's a new subject, initially for the first few I'll help you with, give you a bit of a talk through, just to get you in the rhythm of what to do. And then that'll soon become habit, and then I'll hand that over to you, then you'll be doing the pedestrian crossings. And like I say, by the end of the day, you know all the different types, you'll have seen all the different types, and you'll know what to do and the rules, and you'll be like a whiz kid at it. Okay, so in terms of the drive, as we normally discuss, we've done junctions, roundabouts, which we'll have some of those today. So are you happy to take responsibility for those?
Yeah,
you've been doing well at those.
Yeah.
If you get stuck or not sure of anything, just ask and I'll help you. Okay. If you do get into any difficulty today, if you're struggling, as always, I'll always intervene verbally and tell you what to do. If I see danger and if I don't think you're dealing with it, I might tell you to slow down, for example. And if time is short and the risk is escalating, then as you know, I might go physical. I've got my dual controls. Might need to come in, get the wheel, but I'll only do that if I really need to. I'd always intervene verbally first.
Yeah.
Alright, happy with that?
Yep.
Good. So you're all set up?
Yep.
You're happy with how you're sitting? Yeah.
Yep. It's all good.
So I'll get, in terms of directions, I'm going to give you directions because we are going to head into the city. Follow the road ahead at all times unless road markings or signs say otherwise. When I need you to turn left or right, I'll let you know in plenty of time. If I say anything you're not sure of, just say and I'll repeat it.
Yep.
Okay, and let's go do it. Let's go find them pedestrian crossings.
Cool.
So if you just show us how good you are with your moving off, because this would be relevant today. Imagine we was at a pedestrian crossing now in the city where people might be coming across the road diagonally. Just show me how you're going to do that. As a little practice run for. Because we're good habit to have, isn't it? You always look all round just to make sure there isn't a little kid. But in the city, it's much more likely that, and it is half term, so they're all going to be about doing their little quasar things and whatever they do.
Cool.
All right.
Yep. So normal routine then.
Very good. Okay, so I'd like you to take the next road on the right, and if you're aware of what's happening behind us.
Yep, so we've got the Mini behind. They're also coming right.
And what hazards do you think we might see on this road today?
Well, the bins are out, so potentially a bin lorry.
And next right. That's it, yeah. So if you met a bin lorry on this corner, do you think there'd be enough room to get in there?
No.
It'd be tight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And this is, oh look, there is the bin lorry up there. There we go, so we've spotted him. And are we on a bus route at the minute?
Well, I don't know.
Well, we are.
Right.
And so, think about how you deal with meeting a bus on this situation, on this bend here.
Well, I'd have to hold back here.
Exactly, yeah.
Really tight.
And there, you know, and there, look, we've got a bus stop, haven't we? Bus stops on both sides, so quite a narrow road if you have a bus, isn't it? So, because we're, you know, our theme of the lesson is pedestrians and pedestrian crossings, we'd look for people potentially looking to cross the road. If we saw someone walking along, looking over their shoulder, might give us a clue that they're going to step into the roads or look to cross. At the end of the roads, we're going to be turning right. So T-junctions, that's a place where pedestrians cross, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why we always get the speed down low, in case the little kiddie shoots across on his bike or someone steps in front of your car.
Yeah.
So we treat this as like an unofficial pedestrian crossing. So it's got the drop curbs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. And into the new roads, got this little pedestrian refuge, this little halfway place.
Yeah.
So if someone was waiting in the middle, if a pedestrian was waiting in that little island, who would have priority there?
We would, because there's no markings on the road.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to be stopping there because, like you say, there's no giveaway lines out there, no zigzags. So if we look ahead, what pedestrian crossing can you see?
So that's traffic lights, and that was solid lamps. So that would be either Pelican.
Well, they've just gone to red. They could be flashing there, but so just check your mirrors, see what's going on behind. And as we approach, we're going to see the zigzags. We've seen the pedestrian crossing, and we've got solid red and solid amber back to green. So what type of crossing?
That's an intelligent one. So that's a Puffin.
I'm going to go ahead at the roundabout. Okay. That's correction. I'm going to go left at the roundabout.
Okay.
Sorry. So into the new road, again we've got drop curbs off the roundabout where potentially pedestrians are going to cross.
Yep.
And if you get your eyes on full beam, look right up the road, and I want you to tell me if you can see a pedestrian crossing. Or any warnings where pedestrians might cross. So there is some flashing lights up there.
I see the flashing lights,
And what's happening behind?
So we've got a car behind. Speed limit change.
So we're now coming up to 9 o'clock, but it's not a school day, and what's the speed limit telling you here?
20 miles an hour.
Okay, so we check mirrors.
Yeah.
So on a school day, this is where the lollipop lady would be. See the little refuge?
Yeah.
And the posts?
Yeah.
So that's where they operate to get the kids into school.
Okay.
At the traffic lights, we're going to turn right. Okay, so we've got a crossroads intersection here, controlled by traffic lights. But would pedestrians use these lights as a crossing as well?
Yeah, like he's now going to, there's a refuge in the middle there.
That's it. And has he got a button to press? Is it controlled by the pedestrian?
No.
So he's just going to cross when the phase allows him to. He's not actually got any control on this.
Okay.
So yeah, we're turning right. Another set of traffic lights. So is this a standalone pedestrian crossing or part of a bigger junction at Crossroads?
Part of a bigger junction at Crossroads.
So notice on the Crossroads we don't have the zigzag lines up on approach, do we?
No.
So we'd only get the zigzags if it's a standalone pedestrian crossing.
Okay.
Where this is a crossroads.
Yeah.
But pedestrians still use it to cross. We can see the little studs in the road where pedestrians have it marked for them to cross. So we've got a warning sign here. What's the warning sign telling you?
The patrols.
Yeah, school children crossing patrol.
Yeah.
So mirror check. There's our crossing.
Yeah.
It's got hard barriers on this one to stop people crossing. Got all the zigzags. And if we look at the little button, had anyone pressed the button?
No. So it's red.
So that's how we could sort of anticipate if someone's pressed that and walked away.
Okay.
So again, check your mirrors, get your eyes on full beam. Can you see any more pedestrian crossings? Can you see that one up there on green?
I see the traffic lights.
Yeah, so we go for our routine, we'll check the mirrors, but sort of just ease off the gas just to scan left and right and see what's going on. Got that red car on the near side is going to be emerging from that junction, and brake lights ahead.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon that car in front did? Do you reckon you give him a little flash there?
Yeah, he's letting him out. Yeah.
So let's check their mirrors again. Let's scan the junction. Has anyone pressed the button?
No.
So it's clear, it's on green. We shouldn't anticipate that changing, should we?
No.
No, it's an old-fashioned box with a weight on it, so I'd anticipate that was a Pelican with a flash now. But don't know for sure until we actually see it.
Yeah.
But we're going to continue ahead. So we've got another set of traffic lights coming up. And is this a standalone crossing or part of a crossroads?
This is part of the crossroads.
And how do you know that? Can you see the sign? So we've got a big crossroads sign.
Yeah.
So yeah. And no zigzags on approach. And where are you going to wait on this one? Just be aware of road markings. Can you see why that?
Clear.
Yeah, so that car in front has observed that keep clear before the lights. Cool. So we've got two sets of lights here. We're going to be going ahead of both.
Okay.
So let's treat this like a pedestrian crossing as practice, because while the cars are stopped, pedestrians might sort of sneak in amongst the traffic, might they?
Yeah.
So you've secured the car with the handbrake, you're in first, prepared to go. So when you get the light change, have a little look, just think pedestrians could be cutting through.
Yeah.
Or cyclists coming up weaving through traffic.
Okay.
And if you look down your mirrors, can you see any bikes coming up?
No, there's no bikes, no cyclists on.
So we wouldn't just wait till we're about to go, we'd just keep on the ball, looking down here, behind, down the right mirror. Now the light's changed, now we have a good look, that's it, lovely. So on this set of lights we've got a yellow box, so what does the yellow box mean?
No stop, no wait.
That's it. Yeah, so we got in this lesson we've got to talk about, we might have crossed wires, we've got two yellow boxes. We've got yellow boxes on the control that the pedestrian presses, and the yellow box on the road, and we the keep clear. So here's a crossing, mirrors, scan.
Yeah.
Do you know what type of crossing this one is?
That was a Puffin crossing.
It is. And how did you know that?
Because they had a box on the top.
They put a lot of kit on the top. The way I was getting that is from on the light controlled box, as though it's just a little picture of a man. Now if you check mirrors here, we've got another one.
Yeah.
So we've got the zigzags, we've got see the hard barriers to stop people crossing.
Yeah. So that's another Puffin.
So the traffic lights, we're going to turn left, okay. We're going to go find some zebra crossings soon.
Okay.
So we've just had lots of pedestrian crossings, all on green. Nothing, no action, no pedestrians to deal with.
No.
If we'd come down here on a school day at 9 o'clock, I dare say we'd have had a lot more potential for stopping and seeing the light sequences. But as we get nearer to the city, we're going to inevitably see, we're going to have to stop at some and see some flashing amber light ones.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you see ones with flashing amber lights, what type of crossing is that?
Pelican
Good.
or zebra. Well,
yeah, both correct on both of those. They both have flashing ambers. I'll let you focus on this.
we're going left.
We are going left. So look, think pedestrians as you get into the new road, and what's the speed limit in this road?
20.
Okay, cool. So why do you think it's 20?
Sort of, it's quite a residential area. Lots going on.
It's a residential area. What lots of pedestrians, isn't it? So they've traffic calmed it as well with lots of speed bumps. We have got lots of pedestrians, and have we got a crossing coming up?
Yeah, the traffic lights in the distance.
Yeah, and what's the warning sign relating to that crossing? What have we got there?
A school patrol again. Is that right?
Yeah, children crossing. There's a warning triangle with patrol. So again, this is where the lollipop, the school crossing, lollipop. We call them lollipop ladies, but well, that's not PC anymore, is it? Lollipop operative. When I was a kid, we had a lollipop man, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we look ahead, what's going on? Can you see another crossing?
Yeah, yes, we see another crossing in the distance.
And what's going on behind?
So we've got the car behind.
And where are you looking now? As you've seen the crossing, where are you looking?
So I'm scanning left to right, seeing if anybody's approaching.
Okay, and has anyone pressed the button?
No, because I can see the red man lit up.
Okay. And what type of crossing do you think that is? It's just got a little red man on his own. There's no cyclist next to him, so what do you think that one will be?
It's got to be a Puffin again, or it could be a Pelican.
Could be a Pelican. I reckon it's a Puffin. But I don't really know when we see the light sequence. And if you look down to the roundabout, can you see the flashing Belisha beacons?
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead of that roundabout. So we've got a pedestrian crossing, zebra crossing before the roundabout, and again on the exit. Can you see the one on the exit?
Oh yeah.
So we've got two crossings and a roundabout in between. So we're going to check those mirrors. We're going to scan for pedestrian. There is a pedestrian on the off sides.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep an eye on her. She's going for the shops, look for the crossing. And notice there's a cycle path shared on this one.
Yeah.
So there's a zebra crossing with a cycle path, like a hybrid crossing. So then pedestrian approaching the exit roundabout, the exit crossing, so mirror check, scan, and do you think she's going to step on that? No. So she's gone the other way, but we'd be looking for her to see if she's going to get her foot onto that crossing.
Yeah.
And if she did get her foot on that crossing, what would you do?
Stop.
Okay. What if she was waiting there and just stood there like as if she was like waiting for a friend or texting someone? Would you have to? Well, how would that work out? Would you just wait there till she finally crosses, or could you go through?
Well, I'd have to go through.
Yeah, exactly. You'd go through because legally she hasn't put her foot on that crossing. No. She. Once she puts her foot, that's a legal thing. You must stop. Okay, we're coming up to another junction. Coming up to little crossroads, and we're going to go ahead. So again, think of any junction as a place where pedestrians could potentially want to cross the road.
Yeah.
Also got a cycle path on this one, so just be really careful. Have a good look, won't you, before you make any decision. Yeah, good. But and what type of junction have we got coming up?
Mini roundabout.
Okay, we're going to go ahead at that mini roundabout.
Okay.
So you just used the signal there. What was the signal for?
I think that's for the car that's waiting to come on, just so you knew I was coming on.
Oh, as an exit signal?
Yeah.
Okay, on a mini roundabout, you don't really need to use an exit signal. I don't think you confused anyone there. If it's a big roundabout, then we would definitely use an exit signal to help that car coming on.
Yeah.
because it's so small, potentially the car behind could have mistaken that for a late signal to turn left.
Yeah.
Or that you're going to pull up. There's lots of driveways around here.
Yeah.
And in fact, saying that, I'd like you to pull up on the left in a safe place. Brilliant. Okay, secure the car. Yeah, done that. We've done a few there, out of roll.
Yeah.
And where we are now, we've got a nice little crossroads about. Do some crossroads.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's that one. And we're just going to hit that.